2 Samuel tracks the peak of ancient Israel's political power and its near-total collapse. The narrative records King David's brilliant military triumphs, his catastrophic moral failures, and a resulting bloody civil war. David's first achievement is bringing 12 fractured rival tribes under a single national border. To secure this union, he captures the Jebusite stronghold of Jerusalem. The city's stone fortifications and high elevation provide a strategically impenetrable, politically neutral capital. David then relocates the Ark of the Covenant to this new capital, merging the nation's supreme religious authority directly with his political throne. With a centralized capital, a national religion, and a unified military, David has transformed a collection of tribal territories into the region's dominant power. At the height of this stability, the 7th chapter introduces a pivotal event. God establishes a covenant with the king. This chart compares standard ancient treaties with this specific agreement. Most ancient pacts were suzerain vassal treaties, where protection was strictly conditional based on the vassal's obedience. God, however, issues David a royal grant. Under this grant, God promises that David's dynasty and throne will endure forever, regardless of his future mistakes or personal failures. This promise shifts the foundation of the monarchy. The survival of the kingdom no longer rests on David's performance, but on the permanence of a divine oath. That foundation is immediately tested by David's actions regarding his neighbor Bathsheba and her husband Uriah the Hittite. Textual evidence frames this not as a consensual affair, but as an inescapable abuse of absolute royal power over a vulnerable subject. To cover up the resulting pregnancy, David utilizes his military authority to orchestrate a deliberate, tactical assassination, abandoning Uriah on the front lines to be struck down. This behavior introduces a moral rot into the monarchy. While the political structure remains intact, David's personal character is completely fractured. This dysfunction bleeds into the kingdom. David's son, Absalom, recognizes the administration's moral weakness and exploits it to plot a coup. Absalom stations himself at the city gates, promising citizens better justice than his father provides. By doing so, he successfully steals the loyalty of the public. Absalom eventually crowns himself king in Hebron, triggering a civil war. David is forced to abandon Jerusalem and flee across this harsh, rocky terrain into the wilderness. The rebellion ends in violence. Absalom's forces are routed in the forest of Ephraim, and the prince is executed by David's commander after getting caught by his hair in an oak tree. David's failures extracted a severe earthly price, turning a unified, stable nation into a bloody disaster area and a fractured family. David returns to his throne as a broken, weeping father. Yet, despite the ruin of his family and the near collapse of his state, the initial promise made to him remains entirely unbroken. 2 Samuel demonstrates that while human leadership is prone to collapse, the covenant advances. The promise survived, not because of David's character, but in spite of it. The book leaves a legacy defined by these 3 realities: